many years ago, I was kind of in a hard part of my life. I've been through a divorce, single mom, really struggling financially, poverty, and trying to make my business go. And I was in southern New Mexico, and a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, suggested that I do a vision quest, and I was like, well, and he says, I'll kind of help you through it. I think you just need to do it. I think you need to kind of go out, just be by yourself and kind of figure out what it is that you want to do. And, so all the preparation took a year of preparing, and fasting and, doing stuff with him and just kind of living my life and getting ready for it. And he said, I had this dream. I had this very vivid dream. I was riding a beautiful black horse, a Frisian. I've always wanted one. Never had one, but always wanted one. I'm riding this beautiful black Frisian in my dream, and we get to this really wide and deep, fast-moving river, and we needed to get across it. And so I kind of adjusted everything and then, got him out. And he was a really strong swimmer, but the current took me right off of his back. And I was hanging on to this pouch kind of that I had on my chest, and I keep going under the water, and the dream was very vivid, like one of those dreams where you feel like you're kind of awake and like it's really happening. And as I'm going down and I'm clutching on this thing, gasping for air under this water, and I've always had kind of a fear of drowning, it was like just this powerful moment, and this hawk was sitting on this branch. And it didn't speak, but I heard what it was saying, right? And I heard it saying, if you don't let go of the pouch, you're going to die. And I woke up, and it was just like, wow. So anyway, it bothered me, though, for a while, like for a few days. It really bothered me because it's one of those dreams that you just feel like, wow, that kind of got me. So my friend Will Wimber comes by, and I told him about this dream, and he's like, oh, and he comes back a couple days later, and he says, I think you need to give away whatever it is that you really love, And I was like, well, I love Makoche, my son. He goes, no, I don't mean a person, like a thing. You need to give it away. So anyway, I sat and meditated on it a while. I thought maybe my guitar, and then I thought, well, my car. It was an old crappy car. It didn't matter anyway. But, I kept dancing around because the only thing I had that was of any value was a necklace that had been given to me by somebody very, very special. And it was just beautiful. Wings, this beautiful stone, and I'd worn it forever. I never took it off. And I was like, I don't want to give that away. I'll give away my car. And then I'm like, if you don't let go of the pouch, you're going to die, And I gave it to my friend, Ellen Yamini, and I gave it to her and walked out, the necklace, and I just was like, what have I done? Like, I don't have anything. Makoche and I are living in a little dumpy trailer. It's the only thing I really loved, and it was really bizarre. It was very painful. A couple months later, it was time for my vision quest. Went out, found the place I wanted, beautiful place, and went out there and, got ready, and Will dropped me off, and I went over and took my boot and made my circle and sat down, and and you're just kind of sitting there, and you're like, wow, like, I'm alone with my thoughts. The afternoon came along. It was about 108 degrees outside Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I'm sitting in the sun. And I'm thinking, that was a really dumb place to put your circle. No, I was thinking, like, this is a dumb place to have a circle. You should move your circle over to the shade. Then I'm thinking, I don't know if you're allowed to move your circle over to the shade. So all these things were going through your head, right? And so I just sat in that sun. And I'm getting all burned, and there's no water, there's no food. That night it was really cold, and I didn't sleep because I was terrified. All night I kept hearing things in the night, and movement, and coyotes, and just all the things that you hear. There's no water, and there's no food, and and in the morning I woke up, and I just was like sobbing. I am just like, why am I doing this? Like, this is so stupid. It's like, this isn't going to change anything. It's not going to make anything better. I'm sunburned. I'm dehydrated. It was just horrible. I just felt horrible. And the day went on, and I felt so empty. Like, I just felt so empty. And then the night came, and I was so exhausted, and I hear all this noise again, and all these animals, and And I thought, my God, I'm scared of the dark, It was like this rationalization, a realization that I was afraid of the dark. And I guess I'd never really thought of that before. And I was afraid of things that happen in the dark and that come out in the dark. And I finally fell asleep. Just exhausted. And before I fell asleep, I thought, I haven't had any visions. I haven't had anything. I've just been out here, and it's just I'm just a failure. That's how I felt. I really felt like, I'd dropped out of high school, I'd gotten married, and now I was divorced, and I had all these things for my life, and I thought, I'm a fuck up. That's really kind of the honest, raw feeling. And I fell asleep, and and I kind of cried myself to sleep. And I woke up in the morning, and I swore that I was feeling kind of this earth breathing underneath me, like with my breath, like I felt this movement kind of underneath me, and it felt so strange. And I heard, "I have always been with you." Not like some big voice in the sky, but almost like from within my own mind, I heard this voice. And I remember laying on my side and saying, "Oh, but I can't, I haven't been able to find you." And it's like, you just have to turn around. And I looked over at that moment, and there was a young doe at the very entrance of the canyon where I was doing this circle, and she was just eating grass. She kind of looked up at me, and then she kind of just started eating again. And I said the 23rd Psalm, because that was something I'd grown up with as a little kid. And I felt this sense of incredible, this incredible warmth throughout me. And I got up, and I'm wondering, how will I know when it's noon? Because I'm supposed to stay till it's noon, and I'm so thirsty. All the things, because it's my mind, And then I realized that I didn't have to take with me everything I'd carried in with me into that circle. I could just, leave it there. And that all of the shame and the blame and the pity and the resentments and loss and everything that I had felt that drove me into that circle in the first place, I could just leave it there. And I could just go out as a new person, as reborn in so many ways. And Will came and got me, and and I shared what my experience was to some degree, because it felt deeply personal. And my life totally shifted after that. It was my life before that and after that was never the same. And I've divided my life often before that moment and after that moment.